Michelin Pilot Challenge
on IMSA Radio, part of the Radio Show Limited Network.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. We've got our first of the major series here this weekend on track, ready to go. The cars are rolling for round two of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Alan J Automotive Network 120. Right in the center of Florida, 3 3/4 miles, 17 corners on this brilliantly old school throwback circuit. Is this Throwback Thursday? Might as well be. Le Mans Curve, Bishop Bend, Gurney, Fangio, Collier, Alec Ullman Straight. This is what history is all about, and it's encapsulated in those 17 corners and 3 3/4 miles around the concrete and asphalt of this former World War II B-52 training base. Turn 1 is super quick. Turn 7 is an out-braking manoeuvre. So is turn 10 and turn 12. Turn 17, not for the faint-hearted. People getting air around there in the early sessions. In the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, I'm John Hindhaugh with Jeremy Shaw alongside me. A tremendous 45-car entry for this. It'll be Shea Adam and Joe Bradley in the pits. 2 hours, but still tactics to play out here, Jeremy, as we complete the first of 2 rolling laps behind the Corvette safety car. IMSA, people would say this is not properly an endurance race, but what IMSA very cleverly do is make sure that the drive times don't match up with how long the cars can go on a fuel stint, so that there are choices to be made on the pit box as much as they are behind the wheel.
There are, John, and the 2-hour race, but that'll require 2 pit stops almost certainly for the GS cars. TCRs perhaps be able to make it on 1 if there is no full course cautions.
So on pole position then, RS1 and the Porsche GT4 RS Club Sport, the Porsche 718 Cayman, alongside Alexandra Premat, the Co-Motorsport Ford Mustang GT4, in resplendent in their new colours for that team. Look great. Luca Mars, graduating up from the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Challenge, where we've seen him driving for a few years for Copeland Motorsport. Behind them, it'll be Murillo Racing, Kenny Murillo in the 72 Mercedes. He's got Michael McCann for McCann Racing, the number 8 Porsche alongside him. The top 3 rows made up by Anand Brynjolfsson, great qualifying by the Volt Racing Aston Martin Vantage. The number 7 car sits in 5th position, and Hugh Plum in 6th for Team TGM in another one of the new Porsche 718 GT4 RS CS Club Sport for that. In the TCR category, only 15. Oh, you know what? We'll take that. It's great. Looks really, really good. Mason Filippi on pole for Brian Herter Autosport. It's a Brian Herter 1-2-3, by the way, with Robert Wickens. Yes, that Robert Wickens, the former IndyCar star, driving with hand controls. He qualified 2nd position and will start on the outside pole in the number 33. Harry Gottsacker, the 3rd of the Brian Herter Autosports Hyundai Elantras, the 98 car in 4th, has the black and gold KMW Motorsport Roy Block-driven Alfa Romeo Giulietta for company on the 2nd row. Taylor Hagler in last year's defending champion car, the number 1, another Brian Herter Autosport, this time an Elantra, also an Elantra I should say, and AJ Muss will start the number 2 car. That is a similar car from Brian Herter Autosport. 1 non-starter, Black Swan Racing's Porsche. The 540 had an incident earlier on in the week. The car was badly damaged, and although they do have a spare Cayman in their truck, it wasn't pressed into surface. Tim Pappas deciding that was enough for the week, and Jerome Blake-Molan, having been first and on top of the pile in the first practice session, I think 2nd at the time of the incident in the 2nd practice session, does not get to race. We'll be looking for our Michelin moment of the race in both GS and TCR, as voted by the broadcast team. So Joe Bradley, that's something you have to think about as well. It could be tactical, it could be a great pass, it could be something else, but the Michelin moment of the race for GS and TCR will announce at the end of the race. Live in sound and vision from trackside. This is the 2nd round of the Michelin Pilot Challenge for 2022. Stand by for action, whether you're here at the circuit or further afield. Delighted to say that we've got the sound and vision linked up, and thank you to our colleagues up at Charlotte for giving us the ability to see all the way around the track with some fabulous images that we have here. Jason is looking after us this afternoon. Side by side, a tremendous 44-car field on the grid, coming to the green flag, 2 hours on the clock. It's Porsche versus Ford Mustang versus Mercedes. A huge variety of manufacturers on the front row of the grid, on the front few rows of the grid. The Toyota Supra pulls out of line slightly further back and tries to go down the inside of the vault. Alan Brynjolfsson, bright yellow. Aston Martin didn't quite make it, but still sits out of line. Pole sitter does what the pole sitter needed to do. Alexander Primat absolutely loving the balance of that little car in the with the mid-engined Porsche. Here come the TCRs across the line, and they're all 1, 2, 3, 4. Did we have 5 across the track there at one stage? I think we did. Hyundai's to the front, and that's a good clean start from the TCRs. Meantime, down at turn number 7, the hairpin, it is still Alexander Primat. Primat who is leading. Looks like one of the TGM cars going down the inside there. That'll be Hugh Plum, who started that car, trying to make up some positions from his 7th position starting spot. Start is under review. I'm hearing maybe one of the cars, maybe one of the Fords, pulling out of their lane. Luke Mars at the front of the field, not sure about that. We'll have that confirmed by race control. Jeremy Shaw, great start, exactly what RS1 wanted, exactly what you might expect from such an experienced driver as Alexander Primat.
Yeah, indeed, and you know, it might be he'd never driven this car before yesterday morning in the first practice session, but he's taken to it like a duck to water, as of course should be the case for somebody of his experience. He's driven just about everything in his pretty illustrious career, Alex Primat, and you know, using all of that experience now, he absolutely loves the balance of the car. I spoke to him after the first session. He was beaming from ear to ear. Couldn't wait to get back out the wheel of that car again. He did so in qualifying, put it on the pole position, and now he's going to try and extend that lead at the front. The Porsches were very much the class of the field in the opening round of the championship at Daytona. They've been pegged back a bit since then in terms of the balance of performance. They've been carrying an extra 90 kilos of weight coming into this weekend. Also got a bit of fuel taken away as well. They were clearly, it was a brand new car for this season. It's a new GT4 918 car from Porsche this season, and it didn't quite get the balance of performance right for the first round, but they've corrected it here, and there were 5 different manufacturers in the top 7 on the grid, so I think that bodes well for an exciting race. John.
Double drive-through for the defending champion number 1 car for incorrect qualifying tyres. So 2 drive-through penalties for the defending champions, and that is going to pretty much put them a lap down, I would think. First drive-through for Taylor Hagler being served now for Brian Herder Autosport.
That's bizarre.
And so that was a mistake that happened in qualifying. The team will have been notified for that, Jeremy, and now having to take the penalty as that stream of Hyundais go through turn number 3. Spinner at the hairpin, turn 6. Check that, turn 7. It is
Farhan Siddiqui there making his debut in the
oh, he's reversing straight into the TCR field that were coming up. The bright silver number 38 Audi gets away with it. Farhan could have done with the reversing camera option there, and there's someone else involved. It's the 27 Aston Martin involved in that as well, Jeremy. So I think there's been a coming together there of those 2 cars, and that's got suspension damage at the right front. Yeah. So that's a really bad start for Automatic Racing. And they did come together, and it was the typical front wheel riding up over, or wheels riding up over, and that is right front steering damage for the 27. So 2 silver cars there. The 27 with the stars and stripes on it has pulled off the track. The pits are being closed, and with full course caution. So team owner for Fast MD making his debut.
Yeah. That's unfortunate for him. We didn't really see the cause of the incident. We just saw the kind of tail end of it, didn't we, with the Aston Martin kind of jumping up in the air there after the tyre-to-tyre contact with the Audi. And it looks like the number 27 car, looks like that car's day is done, but perhaps the Audi might have been able to continue.
I think it did, Jeremy. I think that silver Audi did continue there.
He certainly pulled away from the scene of the incident.
Yes.
Hopefully he'll be able to do a lot more than that. On board here we go under caution, 2 laps in the books. This is a 2-hour race, of course. A regular season distance for the Michelin Pilot Challenge. The opener at Daytona was a 4-hour race, and the bulk of the 10 races in this season will be 2 hours.
Good news this for Taylor Hagler. They've served one of their drive-throughs, and they'll be straight back on the end of the field, of course.
Were they able to get in before the caution came out?
Yeah,
okay, good.
Shea called it just before it came out. Shea has some news on one of the other cars in the field, that being the hard point number 22 Porsche.
We welcome them to the series and into the Michelin Pilot Challenge for the first time to Sebring. Unfortunately, they're having some teething issues with their new Porsche. Clutch issues sprang its ugly head yesterday during qualifying, resulting Nick Galante qualifying last in the GS class. The clutch issues turned into gremlins. The gremlins are back. The car is going to be coming down the pit lane here shortly as soon as the pit lane opens, and the crew is going to go to work inside that Porsche.
That's not how you want to start the race weekend, is it? Or the race itself. Bit of time to check it out, but not really very helpful. So Aston Martin definitely not going anywhere. The automatic racing machine. The Pepper Pike Capital car. Good news is that driver is out of the car. That's one of the cars, Jeremy, that is eligible for the new for 2022 Bronze Cup. Explain.
Yeah, true. For drivers of a certain amount of life experience, actually it's the gold-rated drivers. There's a driver rating system which is used pretty much around world sports car racing these days. It's platinum, gold, silver and bronze. Platinum drivers, in fact gold drivers, neither are not allowed to... No, is it gold's allowed to drive now? I guess they are. I think they are. Oh, I can't remember. Gosh, mental block. Sorry on that. Platinum drivers certainly are not allowed to drive in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, as is for ultimate professionals. So it's mainly for silver and bronzes is the Michelin Pilot Challenge. And if you're a double bronze driver, if 2 bronze drivers share the car, then it becomes an all-bronze driver lineup, and they are eligible for the Bronze Cup. And there's 4 of those cars here, I think, eligible for that class this week. The number 09 Aston Martin, number 11 Capstone Motorsports Mercedes, number 27 Aston Martin that's unfortunately out of the race already, and the Murillo Racing Mercedes car number 65. At Daytona, it was the number 11 car that came out on top, Gary Ferreira and Chris Wilson. And they are currently running now in the 22nd position. So the best placed of the Bronze Cup cars at the moment would be Tim Probert, who's running 18th in car number 65, the Murillo Racing Mercedes.
Let's see if we can see what's going on with the recovery. It's not going to be an easy one for that 27 Aston, has already got the flatbed truck there. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Most of the teams have started their amateur drivers, and this is not the worst thing that can happen here.
Minimum drive time, 40 minutes. So as soon as we hit that mark, we're going to be seeing a lot of driver changes, but this is keeping everybody close to the field. So the AM drivers that normally would be losing a bit of time on the more professional drivers, perhaps who started the cars, and thinking of our pole sitter, Alexander Prema, no one would call him an AM driver. The amateur drivers are losing less ground on him because behind the safety car, well, you have to really scrub to lose ground behind the safety car. But yes, we need to hit that magical 40-minute mark. And as you rightly said, John, the other team that's really happy about this full course caution is the Brian Herta Autosport for number 1, because Michael Lewis can drive back up through the field if he needs to, but this makes life a little bit easier. As soon as they go back to green, Taylor will have to complete 1 lap, then she can come in and serve her drive-through penalty, but that's going to keep that number 1 car in contention.
Safety trucks already at the scene, and thanks to all of our safety workers and corner workers. Now, start is under review. This is what's called a short yellow, Jeremy, because it was so close to the start of the race. So I presume that means the pits won't open.
Correct. Yeah, if it's within 15 minutes of the start of the race or a restart, the pits are not opened. If, however, there were to be another caution period within 15 minutes of the restart here, then there will be full service required. And at that stage, any cars that are trapped in between the safety car and the class leader, I'm talking about TCR cars, then they would be allowed to run around to the back of the pack and take up position at the rear of the field. But that's unlikely to be happening right now. I don't think certainly everybody who's still running is still on the lead lap at the moment. But the pits will be opened as soon as the field has been collected behind the safety car. And there'd be the first lap, first opportunity for the pits to be open. It would be the GS cars to come onto pit lane, and then a lap later, the TCRs.
Under normal circumstances,
Under normal circumstances. So if that won't happen now, but if there's another full course caution within 15 minutes of this one, then the short yellow will be waived, and it'll be a regular full course caution period.
Yeah, exactly. So Prema will have to do it again, this time with single file restart. Luca Mars gets another opportunity for Core Motorsports. Haven't seen yet any action being taken after the start, still under review. 30 degrees Celsius in the air, 27 on the track, so toasty this afternoon for the Michelin Pilot tyres, Pilot Sport tyres. Kenny Murillo for Mercedes still in 3rd, Michael McCann in 4th position. And as I say that, I've just realised that the timing has just for a moment frozen. Just fire up. There we go, that's better. Prema, Mars, Murillo, McCann, Brynjolfsson, Alfredo Negeri. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and not many changes amongst the top 10 from the grid formation, but Alfredo Negeri did make up a position in the Toyota at the expense of Hugh Plum's Porsche. The number 14 car had number 46, and then behind them, number 55 car, number 12, number 6 car moved up inside the top 10. That is Luke Rumberg in another Toyota. He also found a way past Matt Travis in the Nola Sport Porsche car number 47.
Those Toyotas getting quicker and quicker, the GT4s. Joe Bradley's made his way down to the Aston Martin area of the pit lane. Joe, what's the news?
Yeah, David Russell, Automatic Racing. David, not the way anyone wants to start a race. What's the driver reported?
Yeah, we've gotten very little information from the driver, but I think he tried passing down at the hairpin. We just got kind of a little snippet of the video, and they just didn't work out. I didn't see all the video, so I really can't speak for the driver, but yeah, it's not the way we wanted to start the race, obviously. It's really a damn shame, but, you know, we'll come back stronger. Paul's new to the series, and this is race 2 for him, and I have no doubt that he'll come back and get it right for the next one.
Yeah, I think from one of those, from what I saw, it was one of those unavoidable situations where he had nowhere to go. You'll get the car back, but with 2-hour races, 2-hour endurance races are an endurance race, but not enough, is it?
Yeah, so we're you know, Paul and John are going for the Bronze Cup. So if we finish 50% of the race, we'll collect some points, and we're going to take it back. try and fix the car, do the best we can, try and get it back out and get him back in the saddle, most importantly, and points is the second priority for us.
And that is the spirit of endurance racing, David. I wish you well.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Yeah,
You only get better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, the little ray of sunshine that is Joe Bradley. A good point, though. I mean, effectively, they're going to have 45 minutes to try and get that car back onto the track and get some points for the Bronze Cup with their two drivers. Paul Keebler, that was, he was talking about, was in the car, and John Branham, of course. Seems to be a tad recalcitrant, that Aston, going on to the flatbed.
Yeah, it's not happy, is it?
Getting on there now. Let's go down to the pit lane. We'll take this opportunity to pick up a few more interviews with drivers. Shea Adam, where are you?
With John Morley, because John, the Road Checker Racing team has had a busy couple of weeks since Daytona. The car looks completely different. Gav's still behind the wheel, though, and this is Sebring. You guys know how to do well here.
That's right, defending champs. Thank you very much, Road Checker Racing. Yeah, we had a little incident at Daytona, crashed the car, destroyed the car. So we found a new one, thankfully, which are hard to find. The Audi RS3 is a bit hard to come by right now. We found one, and the team just did an incredible job getting it out there because, as everybody knows, we got about one practice session yesterday due to rain and had almost zero teething issues. The car's running well. So Gav is just happy to be here and out there right now. Me too.
Well, for Gav, you said he's not at full operating condition that we would normally expect of him. So how much does it help that part of his drive time is now being served under yellow?
I think it's going to help. It's going to help after the fact. During the race, he's nursing a knee injury from the crash. During the race, if he's focused, he's not going to be thinking about it. It's not hurting him actively. Now he's got a chance to think about it, unfortunately, under yellow. But he's going to be fine. He's feeling good about everything. He's just happy to be here.
Good luck to you both for the race.
Thank you.
Always a good interview.
Yeah.
With the guys from down there. The Gav that was being talked about, Gavin Ernstone.
The two interviews we just had there with
Automatic Racing.
Yeah, that was David Russell, who's the team principal there, and John Morley. There's a connection between those two because John Morley, he came up through the Skip Barber School and he did the Barber Dodge Pro Series back in the day. David Russell spent many years with the Skip Barber School right here at Sebring International Raceway, and David, the team is based in Orlando, so a local team for them. And you know, they've got one car on the flatbed now and be making its way back to the pit lane, but the other one, the 09 car, is running second in the Bronze Cup at the moment. That's Ramin Abdul Vahabi at the wheel of that 09 car, and he's right behind the bronze leading Mercedes of Tim Probert when we get back ready for the restart.
Good work again by our recovery crews. Not the simplest of recoveries, and they've managed to get that done. Safety car lights are out, so we will be going back green at the end of this lap, Jeremy. Good. Very nicely done. What I have been impressed with over the years, and particularly actually this weekend, is as soon as the obstacle to going racing is removed, and if that means the truck getting off the circuit in some way, shape or form with remnants of said car on it, race control very quickly getting people to pack up and go back to green, and that's really good to see. Hello to everyone in race control, working very hard today with two Porsche races, a couple of free practice sessions qualifying, and the race here, and then some free practice again tonight, and that's just on the IMSA side. Think of our flag marshals who will have been out there since very early this morning till 9:15 tonight with a full day, and we thank all the ladies and gentlemen in orange or white or whatever colour they are, whether you're waving a flag, you're an observer or whatever. Thank you very much for your hard work. So coming to an hour and 40 minutes to go, and Alexandre Premat for Porsche and for RS1 will come to the line and get the green flag, and we're racing again.
Good route start by Luca Marzo, right
on the tailpipe.
Yeah,
really. Well, you know, he's a Mazda MX-5 racer. You get the chances at the restart. There's no point in hanging back. You couldn't have put a phone book between the Ford and the Porsche. And right up the outside now, here comes the third place Mercedes of Kenny Murillo. He tried to get round the outside. Brynjolfsson trying to move up as well. In fact, up to fourth place. Yeah, up to fourth place. I thought I saw that. It's not a car you can easily miss that one, Jeremy.
No, he got past Michael McCann there at that restart, so good restart by Aaron Brynjolfsson. He's showing good pace this weekend. You see Kenny Murillo looking to the inside there, perhaps, of the Ford Mustang. Not close enough to make a pass.
And a jump start penalty assessed for the number 99 Victor Gonzalez Racing Team Honda Civic FK7 TCR at the original start. That was not the restart. That would have been impressive if they'd been able to turn that one around. So that is a warning that has not resulted in a drive-through. So very lucky there for Victor Gonzalez.
Yeah, he might have made up a position or so. So he did, not as if he. Yeah, got away with it. Dodged a bullet. Woo.
IMSA Radio, live from trackside, all free, no geo blocks. Good to have your company. 100 minutes of racing still to go. And we're back up to speed with Alexandre Premat from Luca Mars, making his debut in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge for this Alan J Automotive Network 120. You're not from around these parts. Alan J Automotive, a huge network of dealers, and they're particularly around these parts you can barely drive 2 or 3 miles without seeing one of them.
And it is the it is also the Alan J Motorsport Network, Automotive Network paddock area here, isn't it, at Sebring International Raceway as well?
Yeah, that is very true. Being big supporters of racing here at Sebring, their local track. Nice to see, for many years, nice to see local businesses jumping into the racing scene. So at the restart, by the way, Robert Wickens has jumped into the lead with the fastest lap of the race last time around in TCR. So Robert Wickens in the number 33, Jeremy, ahead of Harry Gottsager and Mason Filippi, who started on pole in the 77 car, now down to third in TCR.
Yeah, so the top three have just switched completely. There's the number 14 car trying to usher Alan Brynjolfsson off the road. They're very, very close at the hairpin. I think that enabled was that the Toyota of Alfredo Nadri, I think, to pass. No, he's in the middle of that little battle, but it's a super battle going on here for, what, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th places. But those top three in TCRs, they were 1, 2, 3. They're now 3, 2, 1. And it's Robert Wickens who leads. Harry Gottsager in second place. They've Polstead and Mason Filippi in third, and they're already now working their way through the tail end of the GS field as well. They've already got 2 or 3 cars of the GS cars behind the TCRs.
And the second drive-through penalty for the number 1, Taylor Hagler, has now been served. That was for wrong tyres in qualifying. So that long yellow has really played into their hands there. It's also going to stretch the fuel window. We know that TCRs can do this on one stop. The GS cars now will, I still think, will need 2 stops, possibly not 2 full stops though now, Jeremy, and there's the tactics coming back in again. Yeah,
when you make your stop, for many of the teams, just after 40 minutes. In the Bronze Cup class, we've seen Ramin Abdul-Vahabi now making his way ahead of Tim Probert, so he now leads the class in the 09 Aston Martin. He's a neurosurgeon, is Ramin, from Palm Beach Gardens in Florida, so across the other side, well, on the east coast of the state. And he's now running in the 18th position overall. So a good restart there for Ramin Abdul-Wahabi. Alex Prema still leads a new best lap there, 1:12.72 for Alex Prema. The lap record, by the way, is a 2 minutes 10.9. That was set by Robin Liddell back in 2020, the fastest lap of last year's race. Actually, a little bit quicker. 2 minutes 10.889 is the lap record here for Jan Halen. That was in a Porsche 1 year ago. So a little bit of time to make up for that, but that was just effectively the first flying lap there for Alex Prema, a 2:12, and the top couple of cars. Luca Mars certainly staying right with him at this stage in the game. In TCR, it's Robbie Wickens who leads from Harry Gottsacker in second place. Mason Philippi right there in third as well. In fact, we've got 4 Brian Herder Autosports in top 4 positions. AJ Muss, snowboarder, hanging right with him. And then a little bit of a gap back to Rory van der Steur in the Van der Steur Racing. That's the older Hyundai Veloster in 4th position in the class, car number 19. Those top 4 cars are running pretty much line astern at the moment. Robbie Wickens, what a great story he is, returning to racing after that horrific injury sustained in an IndyCar crash a few years ago at Pocono, paralysed from the chest down, and he has. But he's made a lot of strides in terms of gaining some not necessarily feeling, but certainly movement in his lower body. Remarkable story is Robbie, and even more remarkable for me at least is his teammate in number 54 car, Michael Johnson, who is paralysed from the shoulders down. He feels nothing in his lower extremities whatsoever, nothing below the chest does he feel, and he's running now in the 9th position in the class in car number 54.
Quite remarkable, that really is. Coming down to 90 minutes to go.
And two race leaders there set identical fastest laps on that last time around. 2 minutes 12.043 for both Alex Prema and Luca Mars. And as a result of that, they pulled out all of a sudden a couple of seconds now over Kenny Murillo in that number 72 Mercedes.
Doesn't that just prove that the guys are doing the jobs right? And on the BOP, what was it? We had 5 different manufacturers in the top 7, Jeremy, at the start of this race.
That's right. Just
Extraordinary when you think about it, when the cars have such different design and build philosophies. Not BOP is a dirty word, but the long and the short of it is that you wouldn't get all these manufacturers here if they didn't think they had an opportunity, either in TCR and particularly in GS. They didn't have an opportunity to go and win the race. Oh, my goodness me, we saw last year, didn't we, and at Daytona, every manufacturer was in the top 3 at some stage, and I think everyone bar one led the race on pace.
Yeah, we've seen some fantastic racing in this championship over the last few years, and it's just grown in leaps and bounds since TCR was brought on board. Was that 4 years ago now? Time flies past, doesn't it? We've seen some just tremendous competition amongst both of the classes, and they both had a lot of gains in terms of numbers as well. There's a pass for position. It's a little bit further back down the field in TCR.
Liquid Moly car going side by side with the same Audi that had the problem earlier on, Jeremy, the number 38 Grand Sport entered car. That was the 38 is Fast MD Racing. The Liquid Moly BMW right up alongside it. A little bit of tyre smoke. Mike Skeen and Trevor Andrusko. Oh no, that wasn't. That's the BMW. Excuse me.
Yeah, Trevor Andrusko is an interesting story. He's worked, another guy who's worked super hard to make some opportunities for himself. He's running in the 9th position at the moment, so he's lost a couple of positions from where he qualified, but he'll be sharing that FCP Euro car with Mike Skeen, who's massively experienced, of course. And Trevor, he's 31 years of age, from Marietta, Georgia, but he's been a mechanic, he's been a photographer, he's been a driver coach, and now finally he's got a chance to do some pro racing. He's done some Lamborghini Super Trofeo over the last couple of seasons, and this is a great opportunity for him to drive in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. Well, he actually made a few starts in this championship several years ago, did Trevor, so it's been quite a while out of the seat of this championship, but he's back into it, and he's certainly going to take full advantage of it. Actually, no, he hasn't made it. I lie. He hasn't made a previous start in this championship. Sorry about that.
The Camaro of Rebel Rock Racing out on the circuit, and you may remember there was a great documentary made by that car. I'll come back to that in a moment. 2 cars involved in an accident, and it is the Camaro I was just about to talk about. Frank Depew in that car, and it looks like also the Bluff City Racing 21 Supra involved there as well. And we have our second full course yellow of the day. I think they've come together coming out of the hairpin area. Frank has got going again. I was just about to say, the Urban Grid team had a brilliant documentary made about them called The Rookie Season, and we'll give you some more details about that in a moment. Was Frank coming down the inside at the hairpin, or was it the corner after? Who's in the 21? Oh, yeah, very odd one.
Yeah, Anton Diaz Pereira driving number 21 Toyota.
Yes. So very odd one there, almost as if Anton didn't realise Frank was up alongside there and came across. And I thought they were both in the wall there. They weren't.
I'm not sure that Pereira could have done much different, to be perfectly honest. He was accelerating out of the corner, and he made contact. That was a kind of weird one, to be honest.
Very odd one indeed. Frank Depew has kept going. You might remember that there was a great documentary made called The Rookie Season about their first year. The Urban Grid car moving again, and had a limited theatre release recently, actually, including at Daytona. But it's going to be made available more generally to buy and rent on digital video on demand, as well as DVD from April the 15th. Keep an eye on rookieseasonfilm.com and on Rookie Season on Film, at Rookie Season on Film on Instagram and Facebook for more details of that. But April the 15th is the wider release for that, rookieseasonfilm.com. Really worthwhile, very different way of telling the story, and done beautifully well by the team and the production. Talked about it a lot of the time, but as these things go, it would appear that getting a distribution deal, as ever, is always the hardest part. Making the film is one thing, getting it out there in the movie is one thing, getting it out there is certainly another. Diaz Pereira still sitting in the car, but not going anywhere. That gives us an opportunity to get an Alfa Giulietta update with our Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
Did we mention the color at all, John?
I might have earlier, sorry.
Oh, no. Well, it's a gremlin with that car. They've lost power, and it keeps recycling, but it's still not where it should be. So they're going to be coming in for the pit stop as normal. They've got sticker tires up on the wall, and Tim Lewis Jr. is ready to climb aboard if it is past that 40-minute mark by the time the car comes in. But as far as everyone else is concerned, there's a lot of people up on the wall for GS pit stop, so it's going to be close. Do you think we'll hit that 40-minute mark before?
Where are we now? It depends when they open the pits, to be honest. They have got the Supra rolling backwards. Now, whether it'll be able to move under its own steam or it will need a tow.
I don't see pit close lights on.
It's moving.
Yep.
It moves. It moves. The GR Supra, number 21, that we've been talking about. And so this is the white and yellow car. Thank you again to our crews. So that's very good. By the way, for those of you in the UK,
I think he has been lapped, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. At least once, Jeremy, actually. Thank you to our hard-working team at Charlotte for all the work, and the IMSARadio.com video player is now working. I haven't really missed any racing yet, to be honest, so well done to Jason and the team.
Yeah, we're still not at the 40-minute mark, though,
No.
so the minimum drive time has not been met by the starting drivers. So if they do make pit stops, and they might well do, there'll be just a splash of fuel potentially for some of these contenders, which will have the advantage of when they make their kind of scheduled stop, quote unquote, they'll need a lot less fuel. And Alex Premer, I think quite wisely for the RS1 team, one of the teams to take advantage of that. The Volt Racing Aston Martin also in the car number 7, and number 14, Alfredo Nadri in the Riley Motorsports Toyota as well onto the pit lane.
Right, so the pit lane was open there, Shea, was it, when those cars came in?
Yep, it was wide open. We've got fuel only for the RS1 Porsche fuel, and at the very least left side tires for the Volt Racing Aston Martin fuel, and they're trying to, there we go, now the 59 Core Mustang comes up on its air jacks. That is Billy Johnson, who's going to be taking it over. He actually pulled the air hose out from the other side of the wall, but I don't think that was external help. He was just sort of unlooping it from the rear wing. We've got PGB in the pit lane with their Porsche. This is going to be fuel and tires as well. Fuel and tires for the 65 Murillo Racing Mercedes. Already gone is the RS1 Porsche, having topped off with fuel. This is giving Stephen McAleer a bit longer of a break. The 38 Audi, the one that's damaged, the Fast MD car, that is also into the pits, but Volt Racing gets away very nicely once again. That was fuel and tires for them. And Turner came in, the Turner Mobile. That is the 95. Dylan McVern goes back out. Fuel, and I believe those were sticker tires on the BMW.
So GS pit stops cycling through.
The pits will be remain open next time around. A bit of TCR's cars will have an opportunity to come onto pit lane. Yeah, there might be one or two, but I would be surprised if many of them came in. Again, as I say, the minimum drive time has not been met, so there's not a lot of opportunity for that. They're still going to have to make one pit stop during this race in any case, so you might want to not give up track position. By the same token, they are going to need another pit stop before the end, so it might not be a bad idea to come on now, take on some fuel, so that when they make one more stop later on, it'll be less fuel required to get to the end, to the finish of this race. So on reflection, I should probably see several of the TCR cars onto the pit lane next time around as they follow that Corvette safety car around the Jean de Bienbenz. 12 laps completed then, and 37 minutes we're into this race, so we're 3 minutes short of meeting the minimum drive time, so it'll be one more lap. If you came in now, you wouldn't have met that 40-minute minimum, so
do you stay out
one more lap?
Do you stay out one more? I think you do, don't you?
Probably, and we're quite likely to go back to green next time around. However, so if they do that, then they're going to be potentially losing quite a lot of position on the racetrack compared to the other drivers who take the green flag.
Thanks to Alan Prosser, who's tuned in, the brilliantly named Lanzarote Camel, back in the UK, where the time is just after 9 o'clock in the evening on a Thursday night. Nice way to spend a Thursday evening. I'll guarantee we've got better weather than you, Alan. I'm not wishing to make you envious.
Liar.
As the pits are open for TCR, Shea, any takers?
All of them. I'll let you know if anyone stays out, but right now it seems like everybody's coming down the pit lane. Oh, that's where the 77's box is. They're all the way down. That's not where they were supposed to be, but okay. We've got the 33 Hyundai in as well as the 98, both for Brian Herta. Rory Vanderster brings in the number 19 Hyundai. Heart of Racing comes in with the 98. We are doing front tires for the Hyundais. No driver changes yet for any of those cars. We've also got Audis in the pit lane. The number 17 JDC Miller Motorsport car is in. That looks like that's going to be fuel only for that stop. The number 1 Hyundai is in. That's the one that Michael Lewis will be taking over, but Taylor Hagler still aboard for now. They are doing fuel and putting the car up on air jacks, so maybe they're going to do front tires for that one too. No, that car is staying firmly on the ground. All right, we've got the Road Shagger racing car, splash of fuel for Gavin Ernstone, and away he goes ahead of both of the Hyundais from Brian Herta. But I think a Hyundai down at the other end of pit lane, John, beat them all out.
Okay, Shea, thank you. We'll check that up as they get out behind the safety car.
Yes, there's a couple of TCRs did not come onto the pit lane. Number 99, that's the Victor Gonzalez racing team. Honda, car number 99, then that had a drive. Oh, it didn't know, it had a warning, didn't it, for a jump start? Didn't have a penalty. That car will lead the class when we get ready for the restart, I believe. Number 15 car, the Rockwell Automotive Development Audi, also did not pit. Preston Brown making his debut in the championship this weekend. And also Jared Zielinski, Dr. Jared Zielinski in car number 44, the new German performance Audi, also did not stop. So I think we're going to have a Honda and 2 Audis out front in TCR when we get ready for the restart. But they will be in shortly thereafter, I think. As will several of the other contenders to hand over to their second driver, potentially. But what they will only need is a quick driver change, whereas the cars that have not pitted will require quite a bit more fuel. But you know, unless there's a lot of yellow, the TCRs cannot get home from here, so they will require one more pit stop before the end of the race. That's why I think we saw that divergence of strategies among the TCR teams, and ditto in GS as well. You know, if you've got to make a driver change fairly soon, you want to get your pro driver in the car to run to the end. No, not really much point in coming in now. If you've got 2 drivers who are similarly experienced and fast, then why not? And that's exactly what the number 28 team did, because they did make a pit stop with Alex Bremer, and he will still require one more pit stop before the end of this race, so he'll probably stay in for quite a lot longer now than was originally anticipated. There's a pit stop for the Alfa Romeo, the car number 5, the KMW Motorsport entry with TMR Engineering. That's the car that won at Daytona, also won the final round of the 2021 season as well at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. So that Alfa team is on a bit of a roll right now. It's a long pit stop, but I don't think they've still yet met the minimum drive time. So Roy Brock will return to the racetrack, and then he will be in fairly shortly, I would suggest, to hand over that car to Tim Lewis Jr., who will drive the rest of the distance.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. We're looking for our Michelin moment of the race in both TCR and GS. We'll be keeping that in mind. Are we going back to green this time? Did anybody else drop into the pits? Shea Adam, who's taking advantage of the 40 minutes being up?
Way too many people for me to name all of them, but I can tell you both of the Team TGM Porsches are into the pit lane. The 71 Rebel Rock Camaro is in. Frank DePue will be staying in the pit lane. 56 of Jeff Mosing in the pits. He's going to be hanging out here, and it's Eric Voss's turn. We've got Mia into the pit lane in their Toyota. That's Sheena Monkstay Dunn. Kyle Marcelli will be going out. The 17, that is the JDC Miller Motorsport car, is back into the pits. That will be a driver change. Mikey Taylor taking over for Chris Miller. 54, That is the Brian Herta Autosport car. That is Michael Johnson Racing. It is Steven Simpson jumping aboard there. And I believe that is the number 1. Yep, that's Michael Lewis jumping in for Taylor Hagler. We've got the board down for the number 7, but I don't see the Volks Racing Aston Martin in yet. Vin Barletta is out of the 96 BMW. Robbie Foley is in. The 43 BMW also coming in. That is Sean Quinlan out, and Greg Leofouge in the 40 PF Racing Mustang. That's the driver change. Chad McCumbee taking over for James Pesic. We've got the 11 Mercedes in, the 93 Porsche. That's Tyler McQuarrie now aboard. And we've also got the number 12 Aston Martin. Manny Franco's day is done. That should be Josh Hurley taking over. And finally, the number 15, that is the Rockwell team car. It is now a Rockwell behind the wheel of that Audi. Wow, I actually did it.
Yeah, no, you did. Very well done. Very well done, Cher. Thank you very much indeed. 45 minutes gone. So that is why everybody's come in. The drive time is up. And the pro drivers getting in. So Luca Mars leads the motor race for Ford and for Core Motorsport in his first outing in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. From Kenny Murillo, for Murillo Racing in second in the 72. In the 72 Mercedes. Then the Porsche from McCann Racing in third. That's number 8. Michael McCann still behind that. Luke Rumberg up to fourth, and Ford-Busch Toyota in 4th position.
Yes, the top 7 cars for the restart, probably more than that actually. 7, 8, 9, 10 or so cars have not yet pitted. Top 7 haven't pitted, nor has Victor Gonzalez in the number 99 Honda. I'm surprised he didn't take the opportunity to come in last time around. It'll be Carl Whitmer who takes over the number 99 Honda for the closing stages of the race. Carl unavailable for the first round of the season at Daytona because his wife was busy giving birth to their first child, daughter Riley, born. Oh, we go back to a restart there, and there's I think there was the Luca Mars in that leading Mustang. I think he clipped the tyres coming off the final corner. So into turn 1 then, it's Luca Mars who leads the way, Kenny Murillo in second position, Michael McCann in third place. All sorts of shuffling going on behind him. It was a really good restart there for Luca Mars, who's way out in the dirt. There's some damage to that number 6 Toyota. Is that the car that slid wide coming off the final corner? I think it might have been at the restart. Quite a lot of damage to Luke Rumberg's, the left front of the Toyota. He's losing some ground there after taking the restart in the 4th position.
An hour and 13 minutes to go. Three Hyundais battling it out into turn 7. The hairpin. Meantime, at the front of the field, Luca Mars is driving away, or at least trying to drive away from the number 72 of Kenny Murillo. And in third place, it's the Porsche of McCann Racing. Trevor Andrusco, FCP Europe, in the Mercedes in 4th position. The TCR battle looks like a Hyundai dealer's forecourt at the moment, with the interloper being the Gavin Ernstone driven Roadshagger Racing. Gavin still out there at the moment, did not change over to his teammate. So John still in the pit lane. And waiting for Gavin to come in. Gavin has proved himself to be very good in traffic, and they're playing a game here. And I'm guessing, Jeremy, what they're doing is leaving Gavin out there, knowing that he can battle with some of these guys, hoping he stays on the track and doesn't get monstered. He's a good driver, he can hold his own. It's a new car since Daytona, and maybe they're trying to get in the window, Jeremy, for one stop to the end from here. And waiting for that opportunity, which probably comes in about 12 or 13 minutes time. So to the...
Yeah, here's a restart There's the restart. Yeah, that was Luke Rumberg. Just got on the power, cold tyres there on that
17.
and he just understeered into the tyre barrier, trying to get on the throttle, got on the dirty stuff on the tyre marbles there, and pretty heavy contact with the outside tyre barrier. But he's able to continue, but has he? And yeah, he actually crossed the line in 8th position on that lap, so it cost him several positions, but he is still going. But there's a lot of damage to the left front on that number 6 Toyota.
I think he's been quite lucky, Jeremy, in that it was almost side on. It looks probably worse than it is. There's a bit of bodywork in front of the left front Michelin that is hanging loose, and race control might be looking at that and thinking, don't want that on the track.
Yeah, and in the Bronze Cup category, by the way, in GS, the Ramin Abdul-Fahabi is back out in front now. He's ahead of Tim Probert in number 65 Barilla Racing Mercedes. And they're running 11th for car number 09, that's Ramin, and 13th for Tim Probert in the Mercedes car number 65. And neither of those two cars yet has made a pit stop. No, Tim Probert did come in for a splash of fuel, but Ramin Abdul-Fahabi in the Aston Martin did not.
10 minutes before the half-distance mark. Still Luke Kamars out front. Of course, these yellows are stretching the GS windows as well for those that have not stopped. Top 5 cars have not stopped. First car that stopped, Alan Brynjolfsson, but he's still in the car, so he hasn't handed over to his pro driver. Alessandro Prema has stopped and has dropped down into second of the cars that have stopped. He's got the fastest lap of a 2:11.911, appropriately for a Porsche, although 7:18 in fairness.
Yeah, Robin Liddell has actually just set a new, just gone purple, I should say, in the first sector here.
Surprises me not at all, Jeremy, to be honest there.
And that's the car that won this race last year, isn't it?
Yes, on a fuel
71.
mileage.
Yeah.
He was on, must have been on fumes. In fact, did he not run out on the slowing down
and the
lap?
car was smoking badly, wasn't it, in the closing stages as well? He still made it to the end of the race. So Luca Mars leads then from Kenny Murillo in second position. Michael McCann third. Trevor Andrusko in fourth position for FCP Euro. Then it's Matt Travis for Nola Sport, the Porsche. Similar Porsche, Alex Prema already made a pit stop and up into sixth position is Prema. So he's got ahead of Alan Brynjolfsson last time around.
Left front wing on the Toyota Supra GR, number 6 car, looks like it's been hit with a hammer several times for Luke Rumbaugh in the Forbush Performance car. A few drivers starting to get up on the wall, including Bill Oberlin getting ready down at Turner Motorsport to jump into the car.
Start number 499 then for BMW.
We might think alike, as you were saying that, Jeremy. Shea was saying exactly the same in my ear. At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us. Oh, and another off. Now, this could be manna from heaven for those that didn't stop. That's a Hyundai in the wall. It's the 77, the pole sitter. And that car's going nowhere. This will be full course yellow. It is full course yellow. And the pole sitting car is out of this race as it stands right now. That is terrible look for the number 77. Now, did he jump or was he pushed?
I think number 3 Toyota as well is heavily into the tyre barrier. That's a big crash between those two.
Mason Filippi, of course, at the wheel.
Yeah, Carl Marcelli had taken over from Sheena Monk in number 3 Toyota. That's the Infinity Motorsports entry. I think that's, I'm pretty sure that's which car that is.
That's gone right through the tyre wall. That's Toyota Supra. And the AMR safety crew already there.
That's turn 9. That's the sort of the kink, isn't it?
Just before the right-hander at turn 10. Yeah, it's quick through there, Jeremy. You're building up speed.
It is, and two cars going side by side through there. You've got to be respectful of the other driver. So I think they must have made contact, probably going into
two different class of cars as well. Yeah, multi-class racing, always. The difficulty of judging where the opportunities to pass and be passed are.
So the consequences for this full course caution, because this was within 15 minutes of the last of the restart, this will be a short yellow, quote unquote. So the pit sequence will not be gone through. We will not be making pit stops during this caution period. The cars should not come into the pits during this caution period. If they do, they'll have to serve a penalty.
This is absolutely fabulous news for the top 5, Jeremy, not for those guys who've got damaged
not really.
cars.
It would have been better if they'd been able to come in and make their driver change.
True,
but which they won't be able to do.
but they're saving so much fuel, Jeremy, aren't they?
Yep.
They'll still have to make one more stop, but then again, so does everybody else. And any of the TCR cars that haven't stopped, I think all of the leaders did make their stop, didn't they? Yes, they did. Apart from, oh no, Gav did make his stop. Gavin Ernstone did make his stop, but he stayed in the car. Fuel only for that car is what Shea said. So they're extending now in about 10 minutes, possibly even fewer than that, Jeremy. The TCRs could make their final pit stop.
Yeah, that's right. Probably before the end of the caution period, they would be able to get to the end from there. But of course, pit stops not allowed during this full course caution. But once you go back to green, it's fair game. And if there is another incident at the restart, then there will be another full course caution, and then they could make their pit stop under yellow. So we would be able to take advantage of that and not lose nearly as much time as they would if they make that pit stop under green, because of course the cars are going a lot slower on the track.
The Forbush Toyota did make it into the pit lane. Unfortunately, it was under the yellow situation already, but that car being pushed back behind the wall by 3 mechanics, looks like that day might be done. And bit of irony there, because that car is shared with Tom Long, who is sharing a car with Kyle Marcelli in the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the cars causing this yellow.
Not been a good few minutes for Toyota Supra GRs. So Shea just telling us about that car going behind the wall. Big impact for the 77, right on the nose, square on the nose. And the other car, the Toyota there, has gone right through the tyre wall and has made a right mess of that. That's what it's meant, in fairness, that's what the tyre wall's meant to do. It's meant to protect the and dissipate the impact and make sure you don't hit something that your first impact isn't with concrete.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much at the entrance to what would be the pit lane for the short course here at Sebring, which is used a lot for testing.
IndyCar testing,
particularly the IndyCar testing, but many other categories as well. But certainly a lot of testing, and that track, and there is Luke out of the. No, that's the Hyundai driver out of the car.
Correct. Now let's see if we can work out what was happening here. They were side by side coming through that kink, and just got locked together. That is a huge impact, and the tyre's been fired a very long way, and in fact hitting one of the safety vehicles in the no man's land there.
Okay.
So it was
on board with one of the Toyotas here. There's with the Toyota of Carl Marcelli going to the outside, and Mason Philippi just was turning into the corner there when Carl Marcelli was already alongside him in the Toyota. So I think
I'm seeing immediate broken steering on the Toyota. That is a huge crash for Carl Marcelli, and the tyres really, they got fired off all over the place, but without those tyres there, that would have been even bigger incident. So they have done their job. We'll get word on both the drivers. The Hyundai driver is out, and we put Mason Philippi had started that car and he was still in the car. Mason is out of the car. The Toyota is looking a bit pre-loved at the moment, and that's going to take a wee while it's going to be craned away, I think. It won't certainly run. It's a lot shorter than it was on the right front.
Yeah, that was a big crash.
Great to see that the safety cell has held up, Jeremy. The driver's door was opened, even with the deformed front end. No thought of any incursion into the passenger cell there. And of course, that's what the safety cage is there to do. I think AMR rescue vehicles there. Both drivers will be taken to the infield medical centre. We're going to have to replace some of the banded tyres there, and track services are already underway. Part of the concrete wall has taken a hit as well, and that's probably going to have to be replaced. We've only got an hour to go here, and I wonder if we'll continue to circulate here, because that is not an easy recovery, and it's not an easy rebuild to make that area safe again. That left kink at turn 9 is pretty much flat out, even in these cars, and you're accelerating all the way through. You've come out of the hairpin at turn 7. At turn 8 is just a kink. Turn 9, the left kink, and then you're straightening the car up. But you're still on the gas through there before you're braking and going down the gearbox for the right-hander at turn 10. And that is a big job for track services. We've got the big forklift up there to try and make some sense of what's going on.
You really start with that lot.
Well, exactly.
It's moved a lot of tyres a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have extra tyre
Tyres
stacks.
already on the way on the back of a flatbed. Already seen it. Brand new ones. They're not painted. If you wonder where the tyres come from, by the way, the tyre companies donate them. So they'll either be out-of-date tyres or perhaps something else that they need to get rid of. Some of them look very new when they're going out there, and they are banded together. Great work by the recovery vehicles to get the 77 Hyundai onto the flatbed.
And while I was going on, the race controllers made the call to commence the GS class split.
That's
and
a good
what that
idea.
means is that right now the field is kind of jumbled up as a result of those cars coming into the pits right before we went back to green. But for the restart, we'll have all the GS cars ahead of all the TCRs. So there'll be a fair amount of kind of overtaking going out on the racetrack. All the GS cars will move ahead of the TCRs to get ready for the restart. Still going to be a little while away, but get that class split done now so that when the track is ready to go, we can go straight back to green.
At IMSA Radio, if you want to get in touch with us. More IMSA WeatherTech action later on this evening with the live coverage of the nighttime session. And we've also got qualifying for the WEC over on RS1 for you, all free. Under an hour to go now. Another full course yellow, this time for a scary and very high speed, high impact accident, which has taken out the number 77 Hyundai, which was Mason Filippi, the pole sitting TCR car, and the Toyota Supra of Kyle Marcelli, the number 3 car. That car, the JG Wentworth Racing by Infinity Autosport.
Been a mess of a race, hasn't it? We've had 20 laps in the books, but really only 7 of them under green flag conditions. And that's not what we came here for, not what anybody came here for, because the competition is so intense in the Michelin Pilot Challenge. We were really looking forward to a nice, clean, green race, but we haven't seen that so far.
Well, Luca Mars has led a goodly number of laps, and the first 5 cars have still not pitted, so that's Luca Mars for Co Motorsport in the Ford Mustang number 60, Murillo Racing's Kenny Murillo in the 72 Mercedes AMG, Michael McCann in the Porsche 718 GT4 RS Club Sport, the number 8 car. 4th is Trevor Andrisco for FCP Euro by Ricker Autosport, that is the Mercedes number 55. Then Matt Travis for Nola Sport in the 47 Porsche Cayman 718 GT4 RS Club Sport, one of the cars that made their debut at Daytona last time out in the 4-hour race. They've not yet made their first pit stops. Everybody else down to Ramin Abdul-Vahabi for Automatic Racing, and he is in 12th place, have made pit stops. Gregory Learfoog has made 2 pit stops, actually. The BMW M4 GT4.
They came in for a splash, and then once the 40 minutes had elapsed, they came in again, and Gregory Learfoog took over from the starting driver, number 43 car for Sebring Camera Racing. That was Sean Quinlan. So of the teams that have already made a pit stop and a driver change, I think best placed of them is Robin Liddell in car number 71 in 14th position. Gregory Learfou's right behind him. Then Chad McCumbee in car number 40. So that's number 71, 43, 40. They're running in the 14th, 15th and 16th positions. Behind them, Robbie Foley and all the other cars behind them, I think, have made their driver changes in GS. So behind Robbie Foley is Matt Plum, then Spencer Pompelli, who's right in the mix, and he's a charger. Eric Foss, Tyler McQuarrie in the Porsche. Eric Foss drives the Mercedes for Murillo Racing. That's car number 56. Teammate to the car currently running in second position. And then behind Tyler McQuarrie will be Chris Wilson, who's also made a driver swap. So of the Bronze Cup category drivers, Chris Wilson has made his driver change already. Just looking again at that replay there, and just looked like there wasn't quite enough room given on the left-hand side of the Hyundai by Mason Philippi as Kyle Marcelli was coming through. And big speed differential between the two cars at that point on a racetrack. And I mean, Kyle Marcelli was right up against the curb there on the left.
Broken steering for Marcelli.
Well,
you could see it as soon as that the first impact, the car veered to the right-hand side.
It's irrelevant, though, quite frankly.
No,
the car
absolutely.
was just pushed into a...
No, no blame there. But my point is, he had no control over the car at that point. No. It just broke something and disappeared exit stage right. Philippi was still there, and they were both heading very quickly to the scene of the accident. As Jeremy pointed out, it is the cutout there between the concrete area that is covered by a tyre wall, and that is the shortcut into... It's a secondary pit lane there, is it, Jeremy? Is what you said?
Yeah, that's what they use for all the testing.
Okay.
On the short course here.
Yeah. Well, a large concrete block is going back into that area.
Kind of between 9 and 10, and for the short course, it's the next few corners around Tower Turn, and then on the short straightaway towards the kink, they turn right there and rejoin the racetrack, the full racetrack at what is turn 3 on the big track, and then they go around the carousel and to the rest of the short circuit lap.
If you've played any Gran Turismo, you'll know that. Yeah, it's one of the most fiendish challenges where you're starting at the back and you have to pass every car on the short circuit. Shea Adam is down by the infield care centre. The ambulance has just turned back up now. We're not going to make any sweeping generalisations about the driver conditions, but what can you tell us as they came back, Shea?
I can tell you that both drivers walked into the infield care center. Mason Philippi was a little bit slower than Kyle Marcelli. So Amy, I know you're back home with the baby. Kyle has walked in on his own accord.
Yeah, community radio for the motorsport world. Thank you, Shea, for that. Unsurprisingly, neither of the teams had heard very much from their drivers, but I think that just down to the fact that the cars were so badly damaged, the radio equipment might not have been working. So good news that both Kyle Marcelli and Mason Philippi walked unaided to the infield care centre. They will be looked at there. Don't read anything into that. Standard procedure, but also very sensible to make sure that there isn't anything there that needs care. We're still nowhere near going back green here, Jeremy, because there's more tyres. I would think another couple or 3 laps under full course yellow.
Yeah. And
the pits have opened. It's now been called a standard yellow. The pits have opened for the GS cars. So the top 5 cars will get a pit stop if they want it now.
Oh, I think we'll see everybody in the pit lane in that case. I wonder why that is.
52 minutes to go. Can the GS cars go to the end from here, Jeremy? That's the question.
Yes, because it's going to be a little while before they go back to green. I think they can do better part of 50 minutes, so it'll be a lot less than 50 minutes by the time they get on a racetrack. So I would expect everybody onto pit lane now. And that is a big shot in the arm, certainly, for the cars that have not yet made a stop, because they should be able to get to the conclusion of this race. Everybody now will require a pit stop. Of course, for those cars that haven't yet pitted, they will need a lot more fuel than those who've already pitted.
That's a good point.
So, you know, that really, a lot of that advantage is going to be negated by the timing of this caution period. So Luke Rumberg car being towed back to its garage area. It was the other Toyota that had the problem at the restart, clipped the tyre barrier at the final corner. So for the teams that have already made their pit stop and driver change, this is certainly going to be good news. And best of those right at the moment is Robin Liddell, Gregory Learfouche in second position. They're currently running in the 14th, back from 14th position. In TCR, the first car that has made a driver change, I believe, is Mikey Taylor, currently running in 9th position in TCR in car number 17. Then Michael Lewis, that's the car number 1, with which Taylor Hagler had to make 2 drive-through penalties in the early stages. They've completed those. They've also done a driver change. I think they'll probably be good to go to the end of the race from here. Here are pit stops, though, for pretty much everybody.
Shea Adam is going to have her head on a swivel, leading them in from the lead. Co Motorsports and their Ford Mustang in the hands of Luca Mars.
Oh, and Luca comes in at a very bad angle, not knowing which way to come into the pit lane. He actually blows past the box, meaning that Bob Michaelian cannot get clean into his box either. So Billy Johnson will be taking over for one of those core Mustangs. It will be Nate Stacey making his return to the series in the other, the 2020 champion. With that team, we've got 2 of the Murillo racing cars in, the 65 and the 72. Driver changes for both. So it is Brent Mosing for Tim Probert, and then it is Christian Simchek for Kenny Murillo. And they did have the Kenny put forward down. 14 Toyota is off and back into the race, as is the Stephen Cameron Racing BMW, the 95 Turner Motorsport BMW. So Bill Oberlin, welcome to the race. Trent Hinman is in for the number 7 Bolt Racing Aston Martin. We've got the 46 that was in, that is still Matt Plump, into the end of this race, but took on a bit more fuel. Stephen McAleer is now aboard the 28 Porsche. That was the championship leader coming in by dint of winning the first round of the championship. That's the rumble of the 47 Nola Motorsport Porsche, followed by the 22 Sean McAllister taking over for the Hardpoint Porsche. Still waiting on the pit stops to complete for the Murillo Racing duo. And we've got the number 8 Porsche, that's Andrew Davis taking over for Michael McCann Jr. Who else is rolling? Now the 2 Mustangs are rolling. They have lost a ton of position on this pit lane, and Nate Stacey having to check up as to not run into the 72 Mercedes, which beats him back out.
So a hectic time. I think I might have sent Luca Mars round again, to be honest, and just let him come back in. It caused such an issue there for the other car. But great run by Luca. Coming into the pit lane, just overshot his pits. You're not allowed to reverse. Oh, and there was a touch there with the 83 Cayman that is pitted 2 ahead, and then they managed to push the car back into its teammate. So that was BGB Motorsport coming in. That was the Tom Collingwood and Spencer Pumpelly car, and that actually hit one of the team personnel of the core Motorsport car.
So it's which car caused the problem there? Was it Bob McHaley, number 59 car, that caused the problem by going in I'm not sure what happened there.
I think
I'm confused. What happened?
I think it was the 60 car went too long. Shea Adam, you were there, and then Bob McKillian couldn't get in.
That is correct. The 59 picks more towards pit out. The 60 is more towards pit in, because the 59 ran at Daytona, whereas the 60 did not. So the order is determined by championship points. So that was Luca Mars running too long and blocking Bob McHaley out of his box, as opposed to the other way around.
Ouch.
Yeah,
it's a shame. So it's very costly for both of those core cars. So Luca will be really disappointed in that. But look, he hasn't had many laps of green flag racing, but he was driving really, really nicely out there. And it's a long season. He didn't do the first round of the championship in any case, so he's not really going to be in championship contention. I think he's made his mark, and he'll come back, and he should be strong for the rest of the season.
And we know from what he's done in the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Championship that he is a racer.
There are a couple of cars that did not pit there during this sequence. The number 40 car of Chad McCumbee, that's the pink PF Racing Mustang, did not come into the pit lane, nor did Robbie Foley in number 96 Turner Motorsport BMW, nor Eric Foss in number 56 Murillo Racing Mercedes, nor, I think, Owen Trinkler in the Team TGM Porsche car number 64. I think all of the other GS cars are onto pit lane. If it goes green to the end, they might be struggling on fuel. This is another full course caution. They should be just fine. So certainly worth taking that gamble, I think, for those contenders in GS. and even with some judicious fuel saving, they might be able to get to the end. Here are all the TCR cars, though, onto pit lane, at least those that needed to stop, which is...
That was just a bit of bumper rub in between the number 19 Hyundai and the 99 Honda. Driver change going on for the Honda. That is going to be Carl Whitman taking over. It's fuel only for the 17 JDC Miller Motorsport Audi. We've got two of the Hyundais in. Number one is doing fuel and tires front and rear for Michael Lewis. Wow, it's Christmas for him. The number 98 is in. That is a driver change going on. So Harry Gottsacker is out of that car. We've also got Robert Wickens out of the 33. That is Mark Wilkins taking over that machine. John Morley finally getting his opportunity at the 61 Roadshagger Racing Audi. With the first car back and rolling, that's the number 2 Hyundai. So AJ Musk started that car. Ryan Norman now behind the wheel. Second car to go is Steven Simpson in the 54. Third car, Heart of Racing. So good stuff from the boys and girls from Marysville, Ohio.
Two cars that did not stop in TCR. Number 15 of Eric Rockwell in the Audi, and number 18, that's Caleb Bacon in the CB Racing Hyundai Veloster car number 18. So they did not make a pit stop. They are reckoning they can get to the end of the race from here without needing more fuel. I think that's certainly fair enough. Whether they got the pace to stay where they are, we shall see in the remaining 45 minutes of this race.
Brand new sticker Michelin tyres front and back for John Morley in the Roadshagger Audi. So they're giving him the best possible chance to fire himself back up through the field.
So interesting that Robin Liddell elected not to gamble there by staying out, like these other 4 cars that did not pit in GS. Number 40, 96, 56 and 64. Then it's Chad McCumbee in the Ford, BMW Robbie Foley, the Mercedes of Eric Foss and Owen Trinkler in the Porsche. So 4 different brands. They will take the restart in the lead, and they will probably require some more caution to get to the end without making another splash of requiring another splash of fuel. But you know, they were down the order in any case, so you know, certainly worth the gamble.
We're going to have round about 42 minutes, maybe even closer to 40 minutes to go. Just a bit of a sprint to the end on what has been somewhat of a bitty race. Robert Wickens did take the lead and did take that on pace. We are commencing another class split. So all of the TCRs that are not in the right place will drop behind the GT4s, the GSs. I think I saw somebody do a wave by as well there. That was the Toyota number 21, says Shea. Now,
yeah, that was Scott Andrews. That car had been a lap down, but when all the other cars came onto the pit lane, he's able to get it between the class leader, i.e. the overall race leader, and the safety car. So he's able to come around and make up that position and rejoin at the back of the pack. That's certainly great break there for that number 21 team. Scott Andrews, the Aussie, is super fast as well. See what he can do. The two core cars, the 60 and the 59, together on the racetrack, but now a long way back down the order.
Well, this is going to be very interesting.
So after the pit stops, then it's Andy Jacos from Buenos Aires, Argentina, is going to be is in the 5th position in that Toyota Supra, the Toyota of South America entry in the for Riley Motorsports car number 14 in 5th place. The other cars that are on the same strategy, having just made a stop. Gregory Learfouge in the BMW car number 43. Bill Arbelin also in the BMW for Turner Motorsport. Number 43 is Stephen Cameron Racing. Then the number 7 Aston Martin for Volt Racing and Trent Hinman. Then Matt Plum in car number 46 for Team TGM. Then the best of the Bronze Cup category cars, that's Chris Wilson for Capstone Motorsports, Mercedes-AMG in car number 11, rounding up the top 10 at the moment.
The sound of straight cut gears. So we are going to be somewhere near 40 minutes, Jeremy. This is going to be
less than that.
Yeah, it's going to be a real sprint to the end. If you're just joining us, live in sound and vision from Sebring, Jeremy Shaw, John Hindhaugh from the Hagerty Global Broadcast Centre, Shea Adam and Joe Bradley in the pit lane. And it's been a yellow fest, I'm afraid, with just over 40 minutes remaining. And the most recent yellow for a very nasty high-speed accident at turn 9 between Kyle Marcelli in the Toyota Supra and Mason Filippi in the number 77 Hyundai.
Yeah, I'm sure Mason Filippi never saw the Toyota
absolutely.
coming up to his left as they enter the kink there. And the two core Mustangs, by the way, number 60 and 59, they are pretty much at the back of the pack now in 23rd and 24th positions when we get ready for the restart. Only Brent Mosing behind them and Scott Andrews, who, having got that wave around, has just ducked into the pits for a splash of fuel. So he will be able to get to the end of the race. No problem, of course, for him from there. He's back on the lead lap, but he's going to have a lot of cars to pass. In TCR, Eric Rockwell in car number 15 for the Rockwell Automotive Development Team is in the lead. Caleb Bacon for CB Racing in second position in car number 18, and Mikey Taylor for JDC Miller Motorsports in car number 17 in third place. Those cars did not pit during his caution period. Ryan Norman is the best of the cars in fourth place in car number 2 for Brian Hurd Autosport that did stop.
Safety car has pulled away, and after 22 minutes or thereabouts for our third full course yellow, we're about to go back to green for the last 39 minutes and 50 seconds of racing. Here we go, green flag is in the air, and Chad McCumbee for PF Racing in the pink Ford Mustang leads them down to turn 1 from Robbie Foley and Turner Motorsport in second. Then Eric Foss and Trinkler for Team TGM right in there as well, and Andy Yakos for Riley Motorsport. Those cars leading away, and it's Robbie Foley in the BMW, the yellow and blue car, starting to push. Eric Foss right in there as well in the bright orange number 56 AMG GT4. Toyota right up there. Two Toyotas being taken out of the race, but Jagos in 5th position in the number 14 car, looking very strong indeed, and off for the 33 TCR. It's another one of the Hyundais. It is a broken front wheel, broken front steering arm on the left-hand side. That is towed right in, and that car is going to move very, very slowly indeed all the way back to the pits. Can it get back to the pits? Let's hope so. Let's hope we stay green for that Brian Herder Autosport number 33 car. That's Mark Wilkins in that car.
Yeah, having taken over from Robert Wickens, of course, at that pit stop. But down in front, it's still Chad McCumbee, former ST class champion, former NASCAR driver as well. He leads the race in that very distinctive Mustang car number 40. But right behind him is Robbie Foley and Eric Foss as well. Owen Trinkler there in the 5th position. I think he's just been passed by Andy Yakos from Buenos Aires, the factory driver for Toyota in South America, 22-year-old. Very impressive run for him.
Couple of penalties for working on the cars. The 54 Michael Johnson Racing Hyundai Elantra, that'll be a drive-through, working on the car. Also the 65, that's the Murillo Racing AMG, and the 47, is that there? I'm looking over to the other side of the booth here, and that's the Nola Sport, Matt Travis and Jason Hart Porsche. So they're all coming through. A moment or two ago at turn 1, a spin for the Cayman of, which car was that? It was the 22 car, the purple and white car.
That's right.
So that is the hardpoint car. They've had an interesting race as well. Shea Adam down in the pit lane.
There was just a spin to turn 17 of a Porsche. Now it's coming straight into the pit lane. Was that the 28? I'm currently waiting at the 33's pit box. The car is very slowly making its way into the pits, and the crew has the equipment to replace it. Yes, it was. The RS1 Porsche spun at the exit of turn 17 and just served what is a drive-through penalty, as did the 54 for working outside of their pit box. That was their driver change, taking place mostly in the pit box of the 33.
The 28 Porsche was the pole-sitting car. Alexander Prema and Stephen McAleer. They've not had a good second part of the race. McCumbee still leads and has just put in a 2:11.6. That's the best lap of the race. Robbie Foley hanging on to the exhaust pipes of the Ford Mustang, which is just pulling away. Here comes the Toyota GR Supra down the inside. That car looks really strong, particularly on the brakes. This is the 14 Riley Motorsports car. Andy Yatos from Argentina in that Supra GR GT4. Really strong on the brakes. Just made a little mistake there, and that's dropped him back into the clutches of Team TGN and Owen Trinkler. Owen Trinkler basically having to do 40 minutes here. He'll think this is a walk in the park after 3 hours and 20 minutes at Daytona. Down the inside for second place. Brilliant pass on the Jean de Bihan bench. You don't often see that. That was aggressive and it was decisive, and that's the Eric Voss Mosing machine up into second position. Fantastic stuff, but the pink Mustang's pulling away, and then there are 6 cars disputing second place on down, and right at the back of that is the Trent Hinman Volt Racing Aston Martin, the bright yellow car, the number 7, and he's in the hunt now as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, Robbie Foley got freight trained there because he lost momentum coming out of the Jean de Bihan curves, and he's now lost to 2 positions, not only to Eric Voss but also Andy Yakos as well, and Owen Trinkler got past. So it's still Chad McCumbee that leads, but Eric Voss into second place, and all sorts of battling going on a little bit further back.
Magnificent stuff in the infield. Here comes Trent Hinman down the inside. That's it. So the two Turner cars now running together as Trent Hinman makes up a position in the pit lane with damaged front wheel, cracked front wheel. Shea Adam has the number 33. This is the Hyundai from Brian Herder Autosport.
Worst news for the team is that there is no Michelin rubber left on the tire rim, and most of it has wound its way around the springs. So even trying to get into work, they need scissors first. One of the mechanics burning himself a little bit on the brake rotor. Incidentally, they've had to remove the brake cooling system because that's been caught up by the rubber as well, flailing about. So it's going to be difficult enough to try and work on this suspension issue that they have, the broken upright, but it's not made any easier by this Michelin.
Yeah, that car well out of contention now. In TCR, though, it's Mikey Taylor who leads in that number 17 car, and after all the bad luck he seems to have had over the last couple of years, you've got to. I think he deserves a bit of good luck. He's had it so far in this race, and he's running out front now. The South African-born driver, Mikey Taylor, leads in car number 17. That is the Unitronic JDC Miller Motorsports entry.
Full season entrant though, that 33 car. They will want that car back out to try and salvage something from this race. John Morley in the Roadshagger Audi. As we mentioned, that's a new car after the accident that car was tipped into at Daytona. And at the moment sitting right in front of the FK7 Honda. We've got the Hart team with us again here. John Morley ahead of that Hart team, the red and white and black number 89. It's Chad Gilsinger who'll take that car at the end, the Honda of America racing team, made up of people who work in the factory. And they are charging down towards turn 17 now. And battling those 2 cars for the bottom end of the top 10 in TCR. Yeah, 8th and 9th. Caleb Bacon for CP Motorsport in the Hyundai Veloster, a second and a half further behind them. All the action in TCR is at the front of that field though, with Mikey Taylor in the RS3 Audi Number 17 for Unitronic JDC ahead of Carl Whitmer for the Honda of Victor Gonzalez Racing. Then it's another Audi. Audi, Honda, Audi. The first of the Hondas, Michael Lewis, down in 4th position. But remember, that car had to do 2 drive-through penalties at the start of the race, and the yellows, the long yellows, have really helped that car out. They had the wrong tyres on in qualifying.
Yeah, and the problem like that for Robin Liddell in the Chevrolet, car number 71. He was running in a 12th position. He's all the way down now in, well, I think he's 20th, so lost a lot of places on that last lap, had some sort of an incident somewhere around it. Still going, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. But Mikey Taylor is got a lead of about 1.7 seconds over Carl Whitmer in the number 99 car for VG RT, Victor Gonzalez Racing Team. Rebranded that team over the winter. They had just ridiculous bad luck last year. Anything that could go wrong did, and probably a few more things as well. But currently running in 2nd place is Carl after the opening stint for the team principal, Victor Gonzalez.
So down towards half an hour to run. And at the moment, it's 1.5 seconds. Chad McCumbee in the pink PF Racing.
Yeah, he is in the pink.
Yeah, he is in the pink. Yeah, very good, Jeremy. Eric Foss, then Andy Yakos. Then Team GM on Trinkler, all putting in their best laps last time around. They crossed the line again now. And a new overall best for the number 28 RS1, Stephen McAleer. That car with the problem.
Oh, sorry, further down the field, oh, right.
Yeah, 211, 298 for that car, fighting back after the problems. So it will be about damage limitation there and how far that car can get back up the field.
Yeah, not very far, I think. A long way back.
That's the problem when you've got such a big GS field, Jeremy, isn't it, for your championship hopes? You know, 15 cars in TCR, a couple of people fall out, you make up a couple of places, you might still get top 10 points, but if you've had a problem in GS with 30 cars starting, that is a very long way away. Still great battles going on in TCR in the midfield. Mikey Taylor leading for Unitronic in the 17 Audi. Then Carl Whitmer in 2nd for Honda, that number 99 car. Then Mikey Lewis in the number 1. In the pit lane, Murillo. This is the 65 car. Remember, they had to do a drive-through earlier on for being outside of their box. This is their final pit stop. They'll go to the end from here. And that looks like new Michelin's going on to that car. Oh, and the front wheel's not going on the left-hand side. They're going to drop a lap here. They are going to drop a lap here down the Ullman Straight. Trent Hinman goes to the left and then to the right behind the BMW, the Cameron number 43 car, Stephen Cameron Racing, Greggy Learford from San Francisco. Very close to the turn 17 wall there for the cars that exit the turn 17, yeah, and the lap has gone for that Mosi Motorsport second car. Trent Hinman just held up behind the Cameron BMW at the moment. The white BMW looks almost straight stock other than the rear spoiler. Down the inside at turn 3. Hinman makes the pass again. It was decisive. That's what you want. You'll think he was caught up rather too long. Now he's off after Team TGM and Owen Trinkler. That's 4th. So it's boiling up quite nicely, Jeremy, isn't it?
Yeah. A couple of pit stops though. One was expected. Jason Hart, number 47, the Nola Sport Porsche, for improperly attired crew member during the last pit stop. That's a team that doesn't race regularly in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, but that's the penalty that's going to drop them. They were running just outside the top 10, I think, before that penalty. They also got the other car that came in is number 96, Turner Motorsport BMW.
I have views on that car. Shit, Adam?
It's gone behind the wall. The right front tire was smoking ever so slightly as Robbie made the hard right turn to go back to the garage.
So maybe a brake problem there.
That was running inside the top 10 before this pit stop. I thought he was running in the 5th position until a couple of laps ago, and clearly something he lost a bit of ground in the last couple of laps, did Robbie, and now he's brought that car back behind the wall. Of the top 7 cars, all of them set their best lap of the race last time around, except for the race leader. 2:11.8 for our race leader, Chad McCumbee. That's only about a tenth and a half away from his best lap, and I'm sure he's most likely, I think he's going to have to be stretching his fuel a little bit. Eric Foss in 2nd position on the same strategy in car number 56. Then it's Andy Yakos, who should be good to go to the end with for fuel in 3rd place for that Riley Motorsports Toyota of South America entry.
Well, he's been down the pit lane, or that car's been down the pit lane 3 times. So
to do just once of Chad McCumbee.
Yes, exactly. So completely different tactics. We mentioned that earlier on, that these short races often are as tactical, if not more tactical, than some of the longer ones. Looks like Trent Hinman's got a really good car underneath him as he goes side by side with Owen Trinkler. Got a good drive out of turn 1 through the kink at turn 2, and he's just moved up to 4th position. That Aston is really hauling at the moment.
It is, having got past Gregory Leofouge on the previous lap as well in the number 43 Stephen Cameron Racing BMW, that white and black car, new colours on that car. For this week. But Trent Hinman is certainly fly along there now, up into 4th position, call it, for the Volt Racing Aston Martin.
Down at Murillo, where that delayed pit stop, what exactly happened there? Was the wheel?
Yeah, he just reported a shake in the car. He wasn't sure if he had a tire going down or a wheel coming loose, so we just brought him in to take a look at it.
You guys okay on fuel?
We're 0 good, so we should be able to make it just to the checkered flag.
That's a bit of a shame then, that wheel issue.
Well, we're talking about the 5.6 car right now. We should be able to get it. The 6.5, it just came in Wentz good as well.
All right, okay, that's good.
So he reckons he's good to go for number 56 car that's running in 2nd
Zero
position.
good, he said. So to the checkered flag and no further. Got another BMW. It's the 3rd of the Murillo cars. It's the 72 car. So interesting.
He's running 14th for Christian Schimjack. Taking over from
Kenny.
From Kenny,
Again, that's turn 10.
Yeah.
You know, turn 10 has been a real action area. And again, did he jump? Oh, he might have got a little tap there from the number 59 Core Motorsport race for RP. Billy Johnson, I think, took over that car from Bob McCallion, who started it. So was there a little tap there? The stewards will be having a look at that. The two core cars now running together in their opposite liveries. So if you put them side by side, you can, depending on which way you put them, you could have an all black car or an all white car if you shot it in the right way. Very clever piece of livery design there. Makes spare panels a little bit difficult. They're running together at the moment in... And they've dropped down, haven't they?
Yeah, well, yeah.
14th and 15th in class for Billy Johnson, with Nate Stacey in behind him at the moment.
That's right. They took the restart, though, in 23rd and 24th. So they've already made up 8-9 positions in those 2 Mustangs, those race for RP cars. The cars are certainly fast, and the other Mustang of Chad McCumbee for PF Racing is still leading this race by less than a second over Andy Jakos less than a second over Eric Foss in 2nd place in the Murillo Mercedes.
3rd position in TCR at the moment for Michael Lewis and the number 1 Brian Herder Autosport Hyundai Elantra. Wasn't the best start to the race for Taylor Hagler, Joe Bradley down in the pit lane.
Taylor, a little bit frustrating at the start with those 2 penalties. What was that all about?
For the penalty, we just had a little mishap on the tires. So since we had 2 tires that were wrong, we had to do 2 drive-throughs for that. it happens. It is what it is. But the team's been able to make it up, and they had some really good pit stops after that. And Stefano has a really good strategy, and we've moved all the way back up to, I think, second now. So
That's incredible, isn't it? As a driver, do you often wonder how did the team do that?
it does make me wonder, and like I do kind of question it in my mind when I'm in the car, and I'm like, okay, what is he doing? What is his strategy? I do what I'm told. I pit when I'm told to pit. I save the tires when I'm told to save the tires. Someone knows something that I don't, so that's what their job is, and my job is just to drive the car and listen and do what I'm told.
I'm going to say nothing more because I don't want to hex anything else what has happened to the number 1 car. So it's not my responsibility. Okay, Taylor, great stuff.
Taylor Hagler there, overcoming those 2 stops. They were helped by the yellows early on. Problem for the CB Motorsport, number 18, Hyundai Veloster, that car with a right rear issue, and it's come to a halt just beyond the bridge abutment at turn 5 into turn 6. So is that in the clear at that point would be the question. Talking to race control at the moment, that car was running down in 10th position, and it is Caleb Bacon behind the wheel of that car. He could bring it back. They're talking to race control to see if they want him to do that. He'd have to drive better part of the lap, really. 2/3 of the lap at the front of the field. Half a second between first and second. 2, 3, 4 front-engine GT cars in the top 4. Ford Mustang, Mercedes-AMG GT4, Toyota Supra, GR GT4, Aston Martin Vantage. Trent Hinman, fastest lap of the race last time around, 2:11.150 is closing in, and the top 4 now within 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, and isn't it cool? 6 different cars in top 6 positions. Ford, Mercedes, Toyota, Aston Martin, Porsche and BMW, all covered by well, under 6 seconds as we go into the final 20 minutes of this race.
So we've had the word from the Murillo Racing 56 pit stand that they are 0 good. So that seems to be a slight contradiction in terms,
yeah.
and it's like,
Well, I mean, if there's anybody that can get to the end, Eric Foss is massively experienced in this series. He's a former champion in the ST class. He's a really good driver. He knows how to look after the car and to save as much fuel as he can. And this team, they've had 51 top 10 finishes and 25 top 5s in its last 66 races. That's dating back to 2015, which is a pretty remarkable record, as competitive as this championship is. As Trent Hinman looking to the inside briefly of Andy Yakos going into turn 1. Not able to make that pass, not close enough to make the pass, trying to perhaps to pressure Yakos into a mistake. Going to get a run towards turn 3, but Yakos is getting a bit defensive right now in that Toyota Supra.
great run for the Yakos-driven Toyota Supra. We mentioned in our countdown to green just how good those cars were looking at Daytona and had some real pace. We've set the pit reporters to ask the questions that nobody really wants to answer. Shea Adam has been down to the leading team, PF Racing Fuel. Are they going to make it to the checkered flag, Shea?
James Pesic was actually happy to answer. Full credit to him for that. He said, it's going to be tight, but we're on the good side right now, and we've got Chad.
Again, on the good side.
That's right, and two former ST champions in first and second at the moment. Chad McCumbee won the championship with Stephen McAleer a few years ago. That was back in, what was that, 2015?
Yeah.
Gosh, that long ago already. 7 years, you're kidding.
Don't, Jeremy, just don't do that to yourself. It's not worth it. Last 18 and a half minutes. Broadcast team, start thinking about your Michelin moments of the race for TCR and for GS. The lead is coming down. The gap between third and fourth. Well, there is no gap between third and fourth. You couldn't actually fit a car into it through the Jean de Bihan bends at the moment. Toyota Supra looks a very stable platform, but defensive driving again. And here comes Hinman. He sweeps to the left-hand side and now goes to the right. They'll be side by side. They're both on the dirty part of the track. Two defensive going into turn 16 for me from the Toyota, and Hinman will go through. He looks across to his left-hand side to see if he's cleared. He's not quite, but he will take more speed into turn 17 and goes through into third position. I'm not sure to be honest, Andy Yakos, you needed to be that defensive in turn 16. Hinman wasn't going to overtake in turn 16, but he really pinched the entry to that and cost himself pace on the exit. And Hinman saw that, swung out right off the circuit. Yeah, I don't see why Andy was defending that. Just pressure, Jeremy. Just pressure from Hinman. And as soon as he saw that little error, swept across all four wheels off the track to get a straighter run through 16.
Yeah, just a little bit of inexperience, I think, there from Yakos. I mean, he is a factory driver for Toyota in South America, and a very talented young man at just 22 years of age. But his first time at Sebring, first time in this Toyota Supra. He drives different Toyotas in South America, but he's to be overtaken by Trent Hinman. That's a very
long list.
With that. Yeah.
It's a long list. I've been overtaken by Trent Hinman. A lot of drivers on there. Michael Lewis has set a new TCR overall best a couple of moments ago. Last time around, in fact, that's now down to 2:15.1, and he's now into second position. So it's Mikey Taylor leading for Audi, then Hyundai in second place, then the Honda Civic, Victor Gonzalez Racing, Carl Whitmer, and behind the wheel of that ahead of Parker Chase. This is a really good run for VG Racing Team. And VG indeed, very good for Victor Gonzalez. John Morley still charging back up through the field for Roadshagger Racing with all four new tyres. He's only a second now behind Parker Chase in fourth position. 16 minutes to go, and the lead battle is being turned up. Now, they can't afford to start holding each other up because Trent Hinman is on a hunt down policy at the moment. He's got target acquired, and Hinman only a second and a half or thereabouts. Call it one. Oh, the Audi's in the wall. The silver Audi again. This is a tower turn. This is the car in 19th position in class. That's the Fast MD Racing Max Faulkner car. It's gone straight in at tower turn. This is going to be full course yellow, so any worries about the run to the flag, I think the leaders just saw that flag. Tony getting it out really quickly as they were coming out of turn 17. So how quick can we turn this around? This is a huge reset, Jeremy Shaw, for the last probably 10 minutes, maybe even fewer of this race.
Yeah, it's certainly unfortunate because there's nice spell of green flag racing there, some good racing going on too, and it was fascinating up front there with the two former ST champions, Chad McCumbee and Eric Foss, going at it, and Trent Hinman trying to hunt them down. Well, this is certainly good news for Trent Hinman because he's going to call a haul right onto the tail of those two leading cars getting ready for the restart. And I think we should have plenty of time to get this car out of harm's way. Just big lock up there for the Audi. I think some sort of an ABS failure on that Audi car number 38 there. That's unfortunate for Max Faulkner, but he's got out of it. He's okay, and I think, is he out of the car yet? Not sure he is, but that was a pretty stout impact head on into the tires. But with the big lock up there, these cars have ABS, so that shouldn't have happened. Let's have a look at that replay. Just locked it up and off it goes, and yeah, that's kind of weird. That's a very, very heavy impact for Max Faulkner. British born, lives in New Jersey.
Well, the tyre stacks have done their job there. He's been pulled out. There's barely any damage to the front of the Audi. I've done more damage to a road car rolling it forward into a fence. Let's turn the steering wheel, says the safety team. That's smart. Are we all connected at the front before I let you go onto the track? Yeah, that looks all right.
And right before we went to yellow, the two TGM cars exchanged positions. So Matt Plum was able to get ahead of Owen Trinkler. That was a battle for 6th and 7th positions.
No.
They're both ahead of Bill Oberlin. Behind Bill Oberlin is Chris Wilson leading the bronze category in 9th position in the Capstone Mercedes car number 11. Then Josh Hurley in the Aston Martin car number 12, that's for NTE Sport. He just got past Spencer Pompelli. That's no mean feat, right before that caution as well.
The no can do, you can't drive that back, sir. So meantime, on the engine you can hear is the leader, Chad McCumbee, I think. The Now, very typical, huge movement of everything inside the PF car. We've noticed this before on other occasions. I just don't believe they can't feel that. There's a sat-nav type screen that's moving around to the driver's right, but the seat moves massively in that car. I've never seen a race car seat move that much. It's extraordinary.
There's Max out of the car. Max
Faulkner out of the Audi.
Good to see he's okay.
So that was a front lockup, Jeremy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it must have been some sort of ABS failure, don't you think, John?
Yeah, you wouldn't expect
ABS,
that. GT4's fairly sophisticated racing cars now.
Yeah.
In the early days, you used to get what they called icing on the pedal, which it didn't slow down at all, did he? Icing on the pedal, because in the early days of GT4, there really were modified road cars. And road car ABS systems, as everybody found out very quickly, don't like working with slick, sticky racing tyres. And it kind of puts them into a, are you sure? Or can we actually do that? Mode. And so very quickly, GT4s went to a race-based system, GT3s even more so, with adjustments on them. And well, that looked to me as though he basically had an issue either with his brake balance or with the braking system itself, because he was locked up from a long way out. And of course, once you are locked up, you're not getting any retardation from the tyres that aren't rotating. You're just scrubbing across the top. The only other thing it could have been maybe was a bad shift or something like that on the down change, which the throttle stayed open to.
It looked like the front end was locked up though, didn't it?
Yeah, the front end was locked, the back end wasn't. So either brake bias issues.
At this stage in the race, they're kind of weird, huh?
And clearly we hadn't seen him having any problems before, and he was making decent progress. So 10.5 minutes to go, fourth full course yellow. We need to get the machine sorted out. Number of very nice planes over on the still active airport here at Sebring. Just working out now what we think. Who's got the tyres, I would say now. Who can look after the tyres and bring the tyres back up? And which cars are best at doing that? We've still got 4 front-engined cars. Check that, 5 front-engined cars in the top 5. Ford Mustang, AMG GT, Aston Martin Vantage, Toyota Supra GR and BMW M4 GT4 before the first of the mid-engine Porsches. So who can get tyre temp and therefore performance as quickly as possible when we go back to green? What do you reckon, Jeremy? We're going to have 5 or 6 minutes, if that, at the end, maybe 2 or 3 laps?
If we're lucky, yeah. I think if we're lucky, they're doing, what, 4 minutes a lap under the safety car. We've only got 9 minutes to go, so it's only going to be a couple more laps by the time they get back to start-finish line, isn't it? We're struggling to get much green at all here, I think. Yeah. Not sure we are going to be able to go out to green, to be honest. Possibly, maybe 2 laps at the most, I would think. But
the wall's been repaired. The good news is the tyre wall is repaired.
They've done a fabulous job.
They have been so on at track services today. So now it's just a question of getting the flatbed out of the way. Quickly, whilst we have a moment, Shay, Adam, your nominations, please, for our Michelin moment of the race.
Ooh,
GS,
I'm going to call
TCR?
this a little bit early. I'm going to say in GS it's Trent Hinman for making the pass on the Toyota going down the backstretch, because if we do get back to green, his team's very excited to see what he can actually do out there. TCR, I don't actually know, John. I'll back someone else's nomination on that one.
Okay, Jeremy Shaw, your thoughts?
I'm going to go
GS
for
and
the
TCR?
PF Racing in the Mustang. They just made 1 pit stop, fewer than any of the top 10 contenders. Strategy call and great driving once again from Chad McCumbee, and a good first stint from James Pezek too. So that's them for me. In TCR, I think I've got to give it to number 99 team. VGMC or VGRT it is these days, Victor Gonzalez Racing Team. They have endured all sorts of things. They're running in the top 3 though right now with Carl Whitmer at the wheel of that car. It's been a good run for that Puerto Rican owned team.
Joe Bradley, you've been watching this race. Moment of the race for the TCR runners?
Easy that one, mate. I've always had the saying that endurance races are won on the pit wall. Well, my award goes to the number 1 team, the Brian Herter entry of Taylor Hagler and Michael Lewis, and we spoke to Taylor, and she was as baffled as any of us. That car took a penalty at the start through a tyre infringement through qualifying. It had to do 2 drive-throughs, and that put it so much out of contention. Well, here we are. We're on a podium slot. They're running in second at the moment, and that's just incredible. GS, I've been struggling with this one, and like Shea was struggling with TCR, it's almost impossible to choose. When you have my job, you see so much insight as to how these teams operate, and it's not necessarily the teams at the front that I would award this award. In fact, it's a joint award with between about 5.
Right. Okay.
I just don't know where to go with it.
Well, I'm going to ask you again quickly. I'm going to say, for me, the moment of the race was in TCR. I find it hard to disagree with Jeremy and Victor Gonzalez racing, but Robert Wiggins leading, albeit briefly, but he took that lead. That's a good one, and we like that a lot. GS, I do like the really, really shrewd and brave call from PF. We'll review in a couple of minutes' time. 6 minutes to go, and I think we might be going green at the end of this lap, Jeremy, because there's no sign of the flatbed. Not sure where they've gone to and got it off the track. They're just going through the
lights just went out on the safety car, I think, didn't they, John? I think you're
excellent.
Right.
So probably about 2 laps.
2 laps, I think it'll be, yeah.
If the safety car gets a bit of a wiggle on now, we might. What are they doing when they're flat out? 2:11. So yeah, it's going to be 2 laps. Going to be 2 laps. Green-white checker finish for the Michelin Pilot Challenge in the Alan J Automotive 120.
Former NASCAR driver or truck driver is Chad McCumbee.
Yeah.
He'll be used to this sort of scenario.
Well, and on the day when IMSA and the ACO announced that a NASCAR is going back to Le Mans for the first time since 1976, with the Hendricks organisation taking up a Garage 56 innovative entry for a Chevrolet NASCAR.
And James Pezek, his previous best finish has been a 4th place, the co-driver for Chad McCumbee. Chad McCumbee's had 9 wins, I think, 7 wins in his 90 previous starts, but the most recent win would have been back in 2018 in a Ford. He had, most of his wins came in ST, won the championship, like I said, in 2015. But,
was that in Mid-Ohio with Pat Gallagher? That last...
in 15, was it? Could have been.
Yeah.
No,
18,
it was Watkins Glen, actually. It was Watkins Glen.
All right.
In 2018.
Yeah,
okay. Dig around.
So the safety car, while Jeremy goes back into the history of Michelin Pilot Challenge from his notes here. The safety car is cleared, and now we have a 2-lap dash for the points. Ford Mustang versus Mercedes AMG GT4 versus Aston Martin Vantage Supra GR GT4 and BMW M4 GT4 at the front of the field.
Well done, John Hindhaugh. Very impressed. With Patrick Gallagher for Multimatic Motorsports.
Where do you think I got that from? That was from Shea in me ears. Don't worry.
Really. But it was Watkins Glen, I think.
Stand by for action. 3 3/4 miles times 2. Green flag coming. White flag next time around. And Chad McCumbee leads the car through and immediately dives to the right-hand side and a big dive to the left-hand side wall for the second place car. The Supra's got a great run, tries to come around the outside from 4th position. Huge defensive move by the second place car of Eric Foss, but he's actually got a really good run through turn 1. This is now leave nothing on the circuit. You've got to go for it at this point. What about that BMW in 5th position? Stephen Cameron Racing in that almost all white colour. Looks like a straight stock car in there amongst all the bright racing liveries, and you don't get much brighter than Volt Racing and the PF racing cars. So the second of the core racing cars further back down the field, going wide there. Now dive down the inside at turn number 7. The hairpin for Eric Voss. He was sort of defending and attacking at the same time there as he went to driver's right. Meant nobody could get down his inside, and he was putting pressure on Chad McCumbee through the fast sweepers. And there's been a coming together at the hairpin, and it's one of the Murillo cars.
Christian Shimjack and Jason Hart, I think.
They were battling in the bottom end of the top 20, and it looked like the number 7. The number 7 Cayman was badly damaged to the left front. Sorry, not 7 Cayman, can't have been. Meantime, at the front of the field, 2 laps to go, 2 minutes to go rather. There'll be one more lap at the end of this one. White flag is being readied on the starter stand. Dust being thrown up at the exit of Tartar. Who's your money on here, ladies and gentlemen? This is going to be very tight indeed. The 2 Team GGM cars in 6th and 5th. Voss defending again. That's the wrong thing to do.
He threw the car sideways in the first of those S's there. He had to he was sort of thrown offline, so he had to go defensive on Trent Hinman, but I think Hinman has to run.
Oh, he hasn't. That Mercedes quick in a straight line. Hinman makes a second dart to the inside. Tries to commit Eric Voss early into the corner.
Great news for Chad McCumbee. He's looking in his mirrors to say, yes, boys, do that some more. One more lap to go.
Across the start-finish line, the white flag will be in the air, and is. And McCumbie's got the better part of a second as he goes across the line. 7 tenths behind him. Here comes Hinman down the inside into turn 1. They both sweep across the track, but Voss holds on to the outside line. It's going to turn into second place from Hinman, and here comes the Toyota. Andy Yakos down the inside into turn 3. There's a Toyota in a podium position here. This is awesome for that organisation and Riley Motorsports. It's been just progress for that particular programme.
Did have a podium the final race of last year with Scott Andrews and Anton Diaz-Pereira, but this is the best run yet for Alfredo Nadri and the number 14 car. He's been the regular driver in that car, had a succession of other Toyota South American drivers at the wheel, and Andy Yakos, the youngster, is right there in contention.
Looks like to me that Eric Voss has dirtied up his Michelin tyres, and he's struggling to get the car turned. Now under pressure from the Cameron BMW, but out front, the pink PF Panther is the 40 car, and that is Chad McCumbee. McCumbee 2 seconds to the good now from the rest of the field, about a second rather from the rest of the field, which is headed by Trent Hinman. In the TCR category, there's a cracking battle going on at the front of the field. Number 99, Honda right in there, battling away. That's the Victor Gonzalez racing car. John Morley in there for Roadshagger Racing. Chad Gilsinger the gunslinger for Hart Racing.
Big change there then, because Mikey Taylor was leading, and all of a sudden now he's back into what about the 4th position.
So it is the 99 that is leading the FK7 Honda. Hyundai in second, coming down to the final corner. Turn 17 for the last time. PF are going to take the win. The blue oval back in form for the Ozarks International Raceway sponsored car. It's been a great run in second place for the Volt Racing car. The cheers on the pit wall as through goes Chad McCumbee, and right at the end we're still battling in TCR. They've still got to come the line sideways by the Honda. Floor the throttle, turn into it, and he might just hold on to this. That is an awesome save in turn 17. What presence of mind. Brilliant stuff for the 99 car.
Thrilled for those guys.
Carl Whitner goes, and incident on the front straight after the checkered flag for Pesek, I think. Well, Shea Adam down there in the pit lane. Let's see if we can pick up some of the reaction from the winners. We'll work it out here, Shea.
James Pesek, your first trip to the podium in the Michelin Pilot Challenge, and it's to the top step. How good does this feel?
Oh, it feels great. We've been pushing for this for a long time, and it finally feels good to get up there.
When I talked to you and Chad at Daytona, you were talking about the full season, getting ready for that coming up. Now you knocked it out of the park at the first trip to Sebring.
Yeah, it's great right now. I don't have words.
Congratulations, go celebrate with your team.
Thank you.
99 Honda nearly hit the inside wall, Jeremy, going through the final time. Carl Whitner turned in perhaps a tad too early and then had to unwind the lock, which put him on the bumpy part. Starts to slide. The presence of mind to remember you're in a front-wheel drive car. He just absolutely nailed the throttle.
Yeah,
that's the Michelin moment of the race for me. Now, in TCR, right there, it's the same team.
Yeah.
It's the same team that you said, but that right there, that save, kept the victory for VGRT.
That was a big moment there for Carl Whitman.
It was
Thankfully,
huge.
he's got a lot of experience in front-wheel drive cars, and he used it all there. And I'm just thrilled for that team. They worked so hard. Victor Gonzalez is a great character from Puerto Rico, and I'm sure he'll be absolutely thrilled.
Joe Bradley down at that area of the pits.
I tell you what is exciting down here. The number 99, they didn't see that coming, did they? The Victor Gonzalez has just gone past me. He is absolutely sprinting down to the podium. When I get down there, John, we'll get away with him. They're ecstatic in the 99 Honda pit. They did not see that coming after that caution.
Michelin moments of the race. It's not always that we give them, in fact, it's quite unusual that we give them to the winners. And it's interesting that both of the cars that we mentioned earlier on, well, Chad McCumbee was racing, but Victor Gonzalez Racing was not leading their pack. But the Michelin moment of the race for GS, Chad McCumbee and the rest of the PF Racing team, with James Pesek starting that. And that was for the strategy call. One pit stop got them to the end. They played the cars they were dealt. It was a risky strategy. They could have got caught on the wrong side of a yellow. They didn't, and they've turned it into a race. That's the Michelin moment of the race for GS. And for TCR, Victor Gonzalez Racing working their way into the top three with their 99 Honda Civic FK7 TCR, but nailed it, cemented it by that brilliant save by Carl Whitmer at the end of that race. He almost clipped the inside wall at turn 17. He knew he turned in too early. He was being pressured all the way to the line by Michael Lewis in the Hyundai Elantra. And as he had to wind off the lock and lift off, it put him on the wrong bumps. The car was unsettled, and somehow, Jeremy, he saved it. You'll not see a better save than that all year.
Yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, he nearly hit everything there. It was a fantastic move. But not quite sure how he took the lead, because going into the final lap, Mikey Taylor was leading in the Audi car number 17. And all of a sudden, he's back in third position. And the Carl Whitmer went from third to first. And Michael Lewis stays exactly where he was in second place.
Chad Gilsinger, honourable mention for Honda of America in the second of the Honda FK7s. In fifth, John Morley and Gavin Ernstone, they'll take fourth just off the podium for Road Shagger Racing. That is a nice return for their team, having had to source a new car after Daytona. See if we can get down to the pit lane. So just to confirm, TCR winner Victor Gonzalez Racing Team in the 99. Both of those Michelin moment of the race winners will get a brand new set of racing tyres courtesy of Michelin Racing. And so it was the 99 for TCR and Chad McCumbee for PF Racing for the Ford Mustang GT4 for their strategy call in the number 40. That's given them the race. The VP Racing Fuel checkered flag being carried up high by Chad McCumbee. What an end to the race. Green white checker for the man who did used to play straight in NASCAR. Jeremy, points.
I think this will put in GS, I think this will put Giovanni Snow and Trinkler into the points lead, remarkably. Wow. They finished second, a magnificent second, particularly for Owen Trinkler, who did an absolute Ironman stint at Daytona. So second there, seventh position here. I think they will lead just by 325, 80, or will they? 302. No, I think they'll be tied actually with Volt Racing. with Trent Hinman and Alan Brynjolfsson. They both had a second and a seventh, yes. So they will be tied for the points lead heading to round 3. But that was just tremendously exciting. In TCR, that with the second place finish again, the second place finish in a row for Taylor Hagler and Michael Lewis, defending series champions, that will put them into the championship lead, round 2 out of 10 in the books. Wow, that was just a tremendous motor race. This is the 8th win then for Chad McCumbee, for the first in 4 years, and super well deserved for the man from Ocean Island Beach in North Carolina. And James Pezek from Harrisonville, Missouri, his first ever win, the 25-year-old former football player. Who's a fullback at Iowa College, was James Pezek. This is his first ever win at this level. Tremendous drive by both of those two. And in the TCR ranks, the first win also for both Victor Gonzalez and Carl Whitmer. In fact, their previous best finish had been a 9th place for the winners. The previous best finish was 9th for Gonzalez, and Whitmer come away with their first win.
Let's head back down to Shea and Joe in the winners' enclosure. Bradley, have you managed to get anywhere near Victor Gonzalez yet?
I'm almost there.